We want to reinforce the idea that human interaction is, ding, a good thing. Hi there, it's Christy with the Chirp YouTube channel. Thanks for being here today. Last week, I brought you a video about the DSM-5 and the symptoms of an autism spectrum disorder, the diagnostic criteria of an autism spectrum disorder. And I said that after that, videos would be coming out talking about how to work on the core deficits of autism. This is the first video in that series that is coming. I guess the last video was probably the very first video since it was on the diagnostic criteria themselves. But this is the first one about how to work on addressing those core deficits. The first thing that always needs to be thought about when working on certain skills in kids with autism is the fact that sometimes those kids are not engaged in the world around them or in relationships with other people. There's a difficulty with the social aspect of life. And many times our kids with autism prefer to interact with objects rather than people. For example, a kid might spin the wheels of a toy motorcycle and watch it up real close. That is very soothing. A kid might This is, by the way, a vintage jump rope. You might have seen something like this in an old set. You saw it at a garage sale. I have a bunch of these that I have sought out and purchased because I find them so much better toys than the things that are being produced today, for the most part. So I buy a lot of vintage toys. This is a jump rope. And a lot of times when I bring toys to a play event that I'm going to have with a child, the child will find something to do that soothes himself or herself on a sensory level, because interacting with me is more difficult than interacting with this toy in a sensory way. So what I need to do as the adult, but also as the person without the social difficulty, is I need to involve myself in the child's world. I need to get into the child's bubble and make myself fun so that social interaction itself becomes fun. Otherwise, all social interaction that the child gets is going to be unwelcome, and it's going to increase the problem that the child has with social interaction. If the only time I interact with my child, because he would prefer just to not interact with people, if the only time he does get human interaction is when he's being forced to do something he doesn't like, he's being forced to eat something he doesn't like, go to a place he doesn't like, stop playing with a toy he does like, then it reinforces the idea that human interaction is a bad thing. We want to reinforce the idea that human interaction is, ding, a good thing. However, it's very difficult because kids do, of course, have preferences, and we have to push against the preferences a little bit all the time. And sometimes we push a little too hard, and the child maybe has a little meltdown or cries or hits us, whatever it is that this child does to reinforce his idea of how things should be in life might happen. And we need to be prepared for that. The goal is to pay attention to the kids' signals and hints and not push so hard that she snaps, that she has a meltdown, that she hits us. It is a game. There is a little bit of to and fro-ness to it. And you will get used to that as time goes by. I'm going to give you an example of how you might deal with the spinning wheels, how you might deal with the jump rope, if your child is doing a similar non-interactive, non-social behavior. You need to get involved in that behavior, because the more your child does that behavior, the more it reinforces that this behavior is what I want to be doing. Let me give you an example. If you eat junk food, your microbiome, which are the little bugs in your digestive system, grows to digest junk food. If you start eating healthy food, more fiber, more nutrients from fruits and vegetables and whole grains and nuts and legumes, things like that, if you start eating more of those things, within about a 2-week time span, your microbiome population of bugs changes to be the kind of bugs who eat and digest those kinds of foods, the healthier foods. However, if you're always eating junk food, your body's going to tell you you need more junk food, because that's what the bugs in your gut want. They are controlling your desires. If you eat healthy food, your body's going to tell you you want more healthy food, because that's what the bugs in your gut are telling your brain. We want what we do. We start doing something and it reinforces itself, because we're built to be like that. The more we do a thing, the more we want to do that thing, in most cases. And these sensory activities are very much the same. It's hard for kids to transition out of that solitary sensory activity into a more interactive type of activity, into a relational activity that is fun and social at the same time. We need to make it as easy as we can, and that's why we want to make it playful. We want it to be fun. I want to have a look on my face that says, I'm having fun. We want to make sure that it's fun. So, to get another toy out here, because it's a great idea to have, should I use skateboard or the bus? Look at how cute that bus is. So cute. I think I'll use the bus. The tires are bigger. Let's say that your daughter is sitting on the floor in your living room, just spinning the wheels on this little motorcycle or a similar toy, doing some sort of sensory activity like this. You could take the toy away and try to do some other activity, but this is going to lead to a lot of problems, and it won't reinforce the idea that social interaction is fun or that you are fun, because you're not fun. You just took away a fun thing, therefore you are the opposite of fun. A better opportunity is to do something similar. Join your child in the activity and show excitement that you get to be part of what she's enjoying. She's spinning the wheels. Imagine that is happening right here. You come up, you get a car, you start spinning the wheels of your vehicle, and you look at her with an excited face. Maybe at first you say something like, spin, spin, spin. And then maybe she starts to say spin, 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 or maybe she just looks at you. And when she looks at you, you say, stop. So you're going spin, 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 spin. And then she gives you an eye gaze and you go, stop. And then she looks away and you start to spin, spin, spin again. And every time she looks at you, you can say, stop. But it's very fun. All of a sudden, you've made this game, which isn't a game at all. It's just a behavior that soothes the sensory system. All of a sudden, you've made it more challenging because you've made it interactive, and you've made there a call and response activity. You've made it a circle of communication. So you're spinning, she looks, you do something. That is one circle of communication. And you did that because you chose to get involved in what she was doing. Let's use the example of this. If you have another jump rope, which I actually do in this box because I can do miracles, but if you don't have another swing, let's say there's only one, it's not a swing, it's a jump rope. If you have another jump rope, cool, and I do. However, if you don't have another jump rope, here is an idea that you can try. A lot of times our kids do these non-interactive, self-soothing behaviors, sensory behaviors, with vehicles or things like this that clearly need a person. A typical kid would probably use a person in. A typical kid probably wouldn't drive around just a motorcycle like this that has a place for a person. A typical kid would probably put a person in there and then drive around. Our kids who have autism spectrum disorders don't like to play with people because people have to interact with other people, and kids with autism don't know how to do that. So playing with people isn't fun. We want to make that fun. But we have to start out by just using people in our play activities. One way we do this is if a kid is playing with the jump rope, I'm going to bring the little boy over and say, wait, I want to jump, and put him in there. And then as the child spins, it's a higher level of play because there's a person involved. He's getting more used to there being a toy person, and it's not that threatening. And then I can start to have the little boy say things like, wee, I like to jump, I like to jump. And then I can say stuff like, stop! And I can stop the child's hand. And then I can take my hand off and say, go! And the child can go again. So there are a few ideas of what we can do with this. I also have another little toy girl here, and I could say, I want to turn, please. We can go all the way for the boy saying no, and the teacher having to come in and intervene. Yep, it's Julie's turn. Okay. And then Julie gets to jump. We can do all the same things. Stop! Go! I like to jump. I like to jump. Stop! It's Albert's turn. We can work on all sorts of different social activities that take place when jumping rope or playing on any sort of toy, while my child is still enjoying one of his favorite activities. This is one of the ways that we start the ball rolling when it comes to helping kids improve their social emotional skills, their social skills and their relational skills, and their emotional understanding of other people in their lives. This is one of the ways we start to break them out of their isolation bubble. We have to get in there with them, because why would they want to come out on their own? They only want to come out if we lure them out by just being so amazing, by being fun, by being relational, by making their games more fun than they were without us. We can do that by being a little bit creative, by thinking a little bit like a saboteur. Yet, we don't want to stop the child from doing that thing altogether. We just want to make it a little bit more interactive. I know there's a little bit of a contrarian in you. You can figure out a way to help your child think that your interaction in that activity is actually a good improvement over her own or his own solitary activity. We can do this. Leave me comments down below. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. This really helps other people to find these videos, and as you know, people who have kids or students with autism, we need to keep on learning because there's a lot to learn, and it really benefits us to think about all of these issues, maybe even before we have to deal with them. Thank you for watching today, and I hope you have a great week. I'll be back next week with a brand new video. See you then. Bye.